All right, so we'll be watching this video, a clearer view as to what critical thinking is, and we will discuss after this video what was said. What are your views on this video? How will this help? How will it contribute to your day-to-day activities in the field of service? So listen keenly. All righty.
What is critical thinking, and why should I care? If I'm being critical of you, you may say, why can't you be more supportive? People don't tend to like being criticized or to react to it well. But critical thinking isn't critical in this sense. It's much more interesting than this, although it too can make people uncomfortable. When in fact, making yourself uncomfortable is a large part of what happens when you think critically, because it's all about taking a moment to go beyond the obvious and ask what you do and don't actually know. Critical thinking, it's tricky to pin down, but its opposite, uncritical thinking, is obvious and all around us. Thinking uncritically involves accepting something at face value without pausing to consider whether it's sensible or justified. An advert says a beer is the best in the world, and I believe it. A politician says they genuinely care, and I nod. A leading academic comments that eating fat is good for me, and I go out and buy some bacon. Most importantly, uncritical thinking is not the same as being stupid, and critical thinking is not something that smart people always do. Most of the time, most people don't and can't think critically about what they're doing. We don't have the time, we don't have the energy. It simply isn't practical for me to wonder every time whether a green light means I really should go, or whether spaghetti is truly a superior pasta to tagliatelle. Knowing when and how to engage critically is a question of habit and strategy, more than of intellect. But once I have the right tools, I can question almost anything. And these tools are embodied in two related concepts: skepticism and objectivity. Skepticism means doubting the truth of something. And objectivity means trying to see something from a more neutral point of view, trying to set aside my own feelings and bias as far as possible and to establish the facts that matter. And this, it may sound easy and obvious, yet it's at once difficult and achingly unnatural. As the British author George Orwell once rather neatly put it, to see what is in front of one's nose needs a constant struggle, and in general one is only right when either wish or fear coincides with reality. People used to think the world was flat because it looked and felt flat, until new knowledge prompted skeptical thinkers to challenge this view. People used to think that the sun orbited around the earth because it looks like it does, until gradually the accumulation and analysis of new knowledge brought new understandings that were themselves updated as we learn more about the universe. Rigorous critical thinking, in other words, means not only explaining why we believe something to be true, but also being obliged to change our minds when the facts change. And people don't tend to like changing their minds, especially if they're in the business of looking confident and telling other people what to do. Perfect objectivity is impossible, but progress isn't. In 100 years' time, quite a few of today's beliefs will be considered laughable in the light of new knowledge. Can you think of any ideas ripe for challenge or replacement? This is how knowledge and understanding grow over time, if and when they do. When we test our thinking not by seeking confirmation, but by looking hard for things we still cannot explain. So, ask what doesn't add up in the world around you, and where the world falls short of what it might be comfortable to assume. That is critical thinking.
Okay, so Roshane, tell us your view on objectivity.
So, my views on objectivity, looking at the video, from my understanding, I think that it's basically letting you know that you have to view it from a neutral point of view. Based on what was said, you'd have to have a look at the situation and try to give your honest opinion on what is happening. So it's basically a neutral understanding for me.
Right. And in your field, you are in the customer service, correct?
Yes. Basically said so.
Pardon?
Yeah, man.
Okay, right. So, how difficult is it to be objective? When you're making a decision at work for your customers, so a customer comes up and they have a question, a comment, or anything like that, whether positive or negative, how difficult is it to be objective in the field of customer service based on your experience?
And based on my experience, we know that in the working world, customers come first. So we will try to do our best to serve the customer as best as possible. So I don't think objectivity will play much part. I'll just try to do my best to please the customer.
No.
Oh.
I can't. No, Rasheen. So even though your customers are right in the sense that they want a particular thing and your company, you're there to serve them, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that objectivity would not come into play where your customers are concerned.
No, it would come into play a bit, but not much.
But why do you say that? Think. All right. So think about it for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back to you.
Okay.
All right. So Team Blind, what about objectivity in your field when you're dealing with your customers?
In objecting to a customer's request, you will have to be sensitive and tactful. So if you want to be objective to something that you're asking for, you also have to be knowledgeable of whatever it is. For example,
hold on. So we're speaking about, based on the video, having a neutral standpoint. So you're thinking objectively based on what your customers are asking you. So you're not deciding, making a decision for them. You are going with a neutral standpoint. So you're not going with what you like, what you feel is best based on your bias.
So you're not going with what you feel is best or what you know is best.
Based on your bias. Right. So that's what I'm asking. How is it possible to be objective in your field? So I come and I say, okay, I want blinds and I want them to be of a particular feel, a particular look. This is what I want. But you will have to decide. So you have the knowledge that I don't have, but I know what I want based on what my place looks like and what I'd like to have, the field. But then, are you able to be objective? How is it really possible to be objective in the field? How do you achieve this?
Successfully?
Yes. So there may be challenges, but how do you overcome this? Because this is critical. And this is where your critical thinking skills will come in.
Right, so we'll have to analyze the situation and process whatever is being said, of course. We still try to go around it tactfully to say, well, we're objective. It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard, of course.
I know.
To try to go around it and with the knowledge of what we have about the products, we'll use that
Right.
tool. And give reasons as to why we would need to do this or it cannot be done. It's hard, it's challenging, yes, but we'll have to find ways to go around.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, based on how you put across the information to your customers. So if it is that you are giving them knowledge from an expert point of view, so you're saying, this is my expert opinion, that this would be best for you based on several factors, and you are going to state specifically. So at no point do you say that, okay, this is what I prefer because I like the color brown, for instance. Brown, I believe, fits well in every home because it will match basically the decor of every home. You will not be saying that. You'll be saying, this is my expert opinion on research, based on our experience as an organization. This is what we've done for, how long have you been in operation, Blind?
12 years.
Pardon?
12 years.
Right. So we've been doing this for 12 years. So we are the experts in the field. And of course, you're going to ensure that the customer understands that you're putting yourself in their shoe. Remember, this is an investment. Normally, when you purchase blinds, it is for how long?
For years, depending on the care.
Right.
Depending on how you care. So you'll be giving them all of that information. So it depends on how you care for your blinds and the type. All of these factors will be coming in as to how you do things objectively. But it is very, very important that you never state to the customer, what are your views, your biases, how do you